Yes, we are live now. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to the Bhagavad Gita Study Circle. We are in chapter 15, discussing very important the yoga system, the Purushottama Yoga. The Lord has volunteered to speak something very, very important to Arjuna. He has spoken about the Ashwatha tree, right? We have spoken about this tree, and we will a little bit more dive into this tree and understand a little quick recap before we actually go to the next verse. We have discussed until verse number 4 in the last session. We will continue from where we have left. Hare Krishna Achyutanji, thank you so much for joining. So we have Vinodji, we have Hina Mataji, Dev and Achyutanji have joined on YouTube. Thank you so much. But before we begin our session, let us begin with the pranam mantra. It will be displayed on the screen. So kindly join your palms and chant along with me. Let's dedicate this session to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON, and my beloved spiritual master. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyat Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Hare Krishna. Welcome back once again, all of you. So, in the previous verses, uh, Krishna has very beautifully spoken about the Ashwatha tree. This is a very unique and a complicated tree, the Ashwatha tree, which is actually representing the Samsara Sagara, or basically this is called the Samsara Vriksha. So, this Samsara Vriksha and this Ashwatha tree that we see in the world has a lot of common things between them. So, this samsara is actually compared to this Ashwatha tree. So, this tree is very, very huge, just like the samsara, which is very, very huge. So, it is just impossible to cross this ocean of samsara. It doesn't have any beginning or end. Samsara rickshaw is so complicated, we just don't know where it starts and where it ends. And that is the same with Ashwatha tree also. Most of the time when we see this Ashwatha tree, the people tree, we just don't know where is the beginning, where is the end. There is one big Aladamara people tree, Ashwatha tree here in Bangalore. It's called a big Aladamara. So it is so huge. People go there to see it actually. So we just don't know where it starts and where it begins. Very massive. Similar something like this is is there in Kolkata, Chennai. We have trees like this, very huge, very old and ancient trees. We just don't know where is the start and where is the end. So they are beginningless. So similarly, this samsara vriksha also is like that. It is beginningless. So there are certain comparisons done. So just like the Ashwatha tree has the roots, this samsara vriksha also has the roots. Now, what is the root? The root of the samsara vriksha is the Paramatma himself. The Lord himself is the root of this tree, the samsara vriksha. Just like the Ashwatha tree has the root. So this, whether spiritual world or the material world, the root is always Krishna. The Paramatma is the root of everything. And just like the Ashwatha tree has the branches, this samsara vriksha also has branches. What are the Samsara Vriksha branches? The Samsara Vriksha branches are the 14 planetary system, right? So many planetary systems are there. So these 14 planetary system actually represent or represented by these branches of the Samsara Vriksha, 14 planetary system. This Ashwata tree has the leaves, the people tree has the leaves. So similarly, this Samsara Vriksha also has leaves. And what are those leaves? The Veda mantras, the Karma Kanda section. Right? We have understood this. The leaves are the mantras of the Vedas, especially the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas, are the leaves of this Ashwatha tree. Then this Ashwatha tree has the shoots, right? So what are the shoots? The Samsara Vriksha also has the shoots, which are the sense objects. You have something nice to see, something nice to eat, something nice to hear. These are all sense objects. So these sense objects are the shoots of the Samsara Vriksha, right? And on the Samsara Vriksha, there is fruits also, just like there are Ashwatha tree has the fruits. In this Samsara Vriksha, there are fruits. What are the fruits? The Karma Phala. Whatever action we perform, there is a karma phala for that, and we have to eat it, whether it is bitter or sweet. So if it is bitter, it is a papa karma phala. If it is a sweet fruit, then it is a punya karma phala. So we have to taste these bitter and sweet fruits in our life, in this samsara vriksha, right? Then we have this tree which has to be nurtured. So that tree has to be nurtured with water, right? But the samsara vriksha, it is getting nurtured by what? The three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. These three gunas are actually nurturing, just like we put manure, we put water and everything for the tree to grow nicely. So this samsara vriksha is actually taken care or nourished by the three gunas. So the three gunas actually take care of this samsara vriksha, right? So this samsara vriksha, on the branches of the samsara vriksha, there are a lot of the living entities. Just like in the Ashwatha tree, there are a lot of birds which are sitting on the branches. What are the branches? The 14 planetary system. And what are the planets having? Are they empty? No. There are a lot of birds sitting in each of these branches. So similarly, the samsara vriksha also, there are a lot of living entities from topmost planet to the bottommost, Patala, from Satyaloka to Patala. There are so many planets, and each of these planets, there are a lot of birds which are the living entities which are sitting there. So this samsara vriksha is constantly growing and growing more complicated way. And there's another comparison made between the ashwatha tree and this samsara tree. That is, when the wind blows, the leaves, the branches, everything swing, right, in the ashwatha tree, the people tree, or any tree for that matter. But since we are discussing about ashwatha tree, when the wind blows, the tree also shakes, the branches, the leaves, and everything. So similarly, this samsara vriksha also is sometimes hit by the cyclonic winds. What are the cyclonic winds? The effects, the winds of the prarabdha karma. Because of the winds of the prarabdha karma that we have, our whole samsara vriksha sometimes shakes. The jivatma is shaken sometimes. The atma sometimes is shaken by the waves of these prarabdha karma. Sometimes up and sometimes down. They keep tossing us up and down, right? We get swayed away by these prarabdha karma. So that is why, if we really have to understand and become peaceful, we need to learn not to nourish this tree, we need to actually cut off this tree from the roots. And how do we do that? By mantra meditation in this Kali Yuga. One has to perform mantra meditation and develop detachment. Only when we develop detachment, then automatically we will be able to chop off this tree, which is so complex. Otherwise, we'll get caught up here. Our intention is not to understand this tree. Our intention here is to understand that who am I and how am I caught up in this samsara sagar. It's so complex. You see generic people They don't even have this understanding. But now, when we are getting some understanding about this tree, this samsara vriksha, what are we supposed to do? Prabhuji, you're telling us to destroy the samsara sagara. But before even we destroy the samsara sagara, there is something even more important to destroy, and that is our own false ego. See, when we actually want to chop this tree, the first thing that we are supposed to do is to chop off our false ego. Because what has happened now, instead of identifying ourselves with the pure consciousness, that Atma, we are now identifying with that which we are not. False identities. We are wearing different masks all the time, and because of these false identities, we are caught up in a very big problem. Our whole problem in life is because of false identities. So, when we actually understand that I am not this so called materialistic person, but I am a spiritual being, then lot of things will shift. How will that shift happen? When we shift our attention from just leading our life with the flow of thoughts that come into our mind to a very directed attention towards our thoughts. See, mind is what is it doing? It is generating thoughts, after thoughts, so many thoughts after thoughts, right? And we just go along with the thoughts. Whatever the mind is saying, we are just following it. We have, one sense, become the slave of the mind. But we are not supposed to be like that. So we need to pay attention to our thoughts. We need to pay attention to each and every thought that is coming into our mind. It's very, very important. What do I mean? You have to pay attention to our thoughts means witness our thoughts. You have to become the witnesser. When you become a witnesser, that means you are disidentifying with your thoughts. That means you are seeing the thoughts separate from you. Now, what has happened? Whatever thought comes, you think that it is my thought, it is me, right? So, but that is incorrect. You have to become a witnesser of the thought. So then what will happen? You will disconnect yourself from your thoughts. It's very, very important. Only when you disconnect yourself from these thoughts that are coming into your mind, then that attitude of surrender will come. That attitude of humility will come. That attitude of devotion will come. The attitude of gratitude will come into us. All these noble emotions, when they come into our heart, and when our heart is charged with these kinds of noble emotions, that is when our heart is fully prepared to meditate upon the lotus feet of Krishna. Otherwise, our mind is disturbed. We cannot actually look or have darshan of the Lord within our heart. It is not possible to have the darshan of Paramatma within our heart with so many disturbed thoughts. Many people come into this path of spirituality. They come here, they try to understand many things with their intelligence. Intellectually, they want to understand spirituality. But that is not possible. Intellectually, we can directly jump onto Jnana Yoga, but if you are not performing Karma Yoga, that means if you're not actually doing devotional service, practical devotional service, that was the fourth chapter, right? Or the fifth chapter, action in Krishna consciousness. So when we are not actually performing action in Krishna consciousness, then what will happen? Only jnana will not help. Simply intellectualizing, oh, I gave the best class. I heard so many lectures. You may develop a sense of knowledge, but the true knowledge, which is humility and devotion and gratitude towards the Lord, that will never develop until and unless we do practical devotional service, seva. Without seva, bhakti will not develop in our heart. It is not possible. We cannot progress in our spiritual life without developing the sense of service. It is not possible. So karma yoga is very, very important. We may study Bhagavad Gita, the Vedas, the Upanishads, what not, many, many big things that we can do. But unless we develop that love for God, it is not possible. So within our heart, within our consciousness, we should create a devotional atmosphere. Only then that pure consciousness will be reflected in our heart. Otherwise, not possible. We cannot see Paramatma within our heart. Just not possible. How is this possible now? You need to witness your thoughts. This is very important. You have to become conscious basically. What is your mind talking to you? Am I just listening to all that chatter that mind is doing? No, you have to witness these thoughts and disidentify yourself. Very, very important. When you start showing disinterest in these kind of thoughts, whatever your mind is projecting, then you become indifferent towards the thoughts. Then automatically you are not participating in the fluctuations of the flow of the thought that is coming. Right? Many times, when the flow of thoughts are coming, they are fluctuating up and down. But when you disidentify yourself, when you're not participating in the fluctuations of the thought flows of the mind that is being constantly bombarding with lot of thousands of thoughts every day, automatically your mind will become peaceful. You have to show some disinterest in sometimes in these kind of thoughts. What will happen is, when you start disidentifying with these kind of materialistic thoughts, then what will happen is the world will slowly lose its meaning to you. You will become automatically detached and disconnected. Why people are so attached to the world? Because they are identifying with the thoughts. Why our thoughts we are identifying? Because right now our thoughts are not influenced just by our own consciousness. Our thoughts are influenced by the advertisements that we see, the social media that we see. Artificial intelligence these days is actually influencing our mind. And because of that, we get influenced by the thoughts that is being actually projected by the external world. But when you actually disidentify yourself, that means you have no effect of social media on you, no effect of artificial intelligence on you. You are actually becoming more peaceful. That is very important. So you have to sometimes ask yourself, am I conscious about my own thoughts? Right? It's a very, very crucial thing in spiritual life. We have to start focusing on the self, our Atma, not on the thoughts which the mind is projecting onto us. You have to quieten your mind. Quieten your mind means chant more. When you chant Hare Krishna mantra more and more, the mind becomes absolutely quiet. And that is the ultimate reality. Ultimate reality is what? Silence from the materialistic thoughts. And the real reality is what? You are getting absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna and Radha. You are getting absorbed, yes, as a part and parcel of Krishna, as the servant of Krishna. I have a role to play in the spiritual world to make Krishna happy. That is what should be our true identity. Our individuality is never going to go, our individuality will always remain. But your true individuality will come only when you disidentify with your mind. It's very important. That's why cut off. That's why Krishna is saying and giving this analogy of Ashwatha tree here. Why? Because he really wants us to cut off these from the root so that we can get connected from him, connected to him. Otherwise, we are so stuck up here, very badly connected to this Ashwatha tree. Right? So, actually, what happens when we start witnessing our thoughts, our mind, we develop a sense of clarity. We start seeing that, oh, my identity is something different from what I actually thought. Oh, I am a man, I am a woman, I am thin, I am fat, I am fair, I am dark. All these different concepts that we have gathered about ourselves, which are actually not the true understanding of ourselves, not a true and correct definition of ourselves, will automatically go away from us. These wrong notions that we have has nothing to do with the self actually. We have nothing to do with these wrong notions. So you will disconnect yourself with all these wrong notions. Very, very important. So when you actually see that your ego is there, we all have a very strong sense of ego. So, but when you disconnect yourself from that ego starts dying off. So when that ego dies, what happens is all that identities that you were thinking about yourself will also die off. The wrong identities will die off. Very, very important. It's very, very nice to know that my ego is getting uh, diminished automatically when I disconnect myself. Myself means the Atma is disconnecting from this ego. So, when that ego dies, then the inner eye within the heart will shine forth. All the false things will go away. The real eye within yourself will shine very brightly. And then you will see there is so much infinite happiness. Infinite happiness. We all can experience. The samsara rickshaw automatically will get off, will be cut. Right? So all these trees, the branches, everything you can actually um, cut off. You will not be disturbed by the cyclonic winds of the prarabdha karma. Automatically all this will happen when you disidentify with the body. Very, very important. Correct? So I know this is a little technical thing, but we should learn and practice to understand that I am imperishable. Our fears are all because somewhere we think that I'm perishable, but I'm not perishable. I have imperishable existence. So that is what we need to understand. How that will happen, let us try to understand through this shloka. Okay? Hare Krishna, Lakshmi Mataji, thank you so much for joining. So Vinodji, you can unmute yourself and let's chant the verse for today, 15.5. Okay? This is a very nice shloka actually. निर्माणमोहाजितसङ्गदोषा
निर्माणमोहाजितसङ्गदोषा
अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामः
अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामा
द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसंज्ञे
द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसंज्ञे
गच्छन्ति अमूढाः पदम् अव्ययम् तत्
गच्छति अम्युदा पदम् अव्यतत्
Once again, निर्माणमोहाजितसङ्गदोषा
निर्माणमोहाजितसङ्गदोषा
अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामः
अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामा
द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ताः सुखदुःखसंज्ञे
द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसंज्ञे
गच्छन्त्यमूढाः पदमव्ययम् तत्
गच्छदमुदा पदम् अव्यं तत्.
Wonderful. Please read the translation.
Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who unbewildered know how to surrender unto the supreme person, attain to that eternal kingdom. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. See, those who are free from the false prestige, illusion, and the false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, kama, so they are free from the dualities of happiness and distress. So they are not bewildered by any of these things because they are completely surrendered to the Lord. This is very, very important sloka because everybody is working for prestige, looking for prestige. I want to become very prominent in the society. And what did I say earlier just now? You have to give up your ego. Ego means what? False prestige. The false ego means false prestige. And Krishna is saying here, you want to be happy? Give up your false prestige. Nirmana. Nirmana. Mana means prestige. Nirmana means giving up the false prestige. Very, very important. Everybody is working so hard. Why? Because somewhere they are connected. They feel that pleasure of being respected. Right? Nirmana moha. Nirmana nirmoha. So mana means that is false prestige, ego, and moha means delusion. Both are used together here. Nirmana moha. Together, both this moha and delusion are going hand in hand. The greater the ego, the greater the delusion. Delusion means you are confused person. The more the ego that you have, the more problem and confused a person is. So this nirmana should be attained, because when people have so much of mana, oh, I'm such a great person, and that mana can come because of so many things. I have such a great beauty. I have a fair complexion. My height is so much. I am, such a knowledgeable person. I am such a compassionate person. People have that prestige, that kind of ego, that pride for all the things that they have, right? They just cannot give up these kind of mana. All these things put together, they are put into a big delusion, a very big delusion, moha. They get confused. Why? Because confused, they lose the contact with the self, and they start identifying themselves with the body, mind, and intelligence. Right? See how when person starts identifying with these things also, that I'm such a great knowledgeable person. When he start thinking, what is he doing? He's identifying with his mind. He's identifying with his intelligence. I'm such a great, I'm such a beautiful person. Means what? I'm identifying with my body. That happens automatically. So when you identify with your ego with this kind of your body, mind, and intelligence, where is the question of the self? That means you're depriving yourself of the true happiness. Moha is there because this moha can be caused with so many things. Delusions are there. When a person is delusioned, no, confused, how can he be happy? Happiness comes when there is clarity, right? What is that? No, nirmana means what now? A person without ego means what? He does not have false expectations. He does not have any false expectations in the world. That is nirmana. When he takes a sugar, he does not expect that the sugar will be salty. No, he knows very clearly. Sugar means it will be sweet. There is no false expectations there. When we start expecting or starts expecting wrong things from something which is not, then automatically we will be in problem. So see, problem here is what? We are spirit souls and we have this body. We have a false expectation. What is that false expectation? I want to live eternally. But the false expectation is I want to live eternally, that's a good thing, but you want to live eternally in this body. Now, which is temporary? This is the false expectation. Expecting eternality from this body is the false expectation that we are having. I want to live eternally, that's good. But I want to live eternally in this body is a problem. That is why Krishna is saying nirmana. You fellow, you give up your false ego. This false ego is making you think that you are this body, which you are not. So this false expectations when we have, expecting immortality from a mortal body is a wrong thing. It's a wrong expectation. And people are running behind this. They are doing yoga, this and that medicine, this vitamin tablet, that protein tablet, I don't know what, not they do. Why? Because they want to extend their lifespan. They want to become immortal in this mortal body. That's a false expectation, Baba. A Mahatma will never think like this. And Mahatma is never worried about all these things. A Mahatma knows what to expect. He knows that this body will get old, he will get gray hair, the wrinkles will come one day. But Mahatma knows that I am not this. This is taking care of the body is okay. I'll take care of my body. But I am a witnesser. I am not this body. I'm the witnesser of this body. I'm a pure consciousness. My attention is not to this body. My attention is to myself, my true self. That is the Mahatma. When you have this kind of correct expectations, right, then what will happen is you become very cheerful. That's why the Mahatmas are very happy because they accept the imperfections of the body, mind, and intelligence. And when you start accepting these kind of imperfections within yourself means this body, mind, intelligence. When you interact with others also, you will know what to expect from others. There will be some imperfections in people also. Just like I have imperfections in my body, mind, intelligence, certain body problem is there, certain mind problem is there, the pattern of thinking is different. When you accept that in yourself, then it becomes very easy to accept all these imperfections in others also. But at the same time, just like I am a pure consciousness, I am a pure Atma, the other person is also pure Atma. And because that common thing is there, I will appreciate what is good in him. I will not see the imperfections because these imperfections are temporary. The body is temporary. The mind and intelligence are temporary. So when you have this kind of mindset, then you don't see anything wrong in others. You don't look into the imperfections of others. In fact, you start connecting people at a spiritual platform. And that is what is expected from each one of us. Slowly, when we start disidentifying with our body, mind, intelligence, what is happening is we are supposed to connect each other on a spiritual platform. When you do that, imperfections will not be seen. You will not become a housefly, but you will become a bee, honeybee. You will start taking nectar from everywhere, not like a housefly going and sitting on the filth everywhere. Oh, he did that. She did like that. She told me something like that. You'll never be disturbed by all these imperfections. You will become very, very peaceful. How to attain that? That can be attained when you nirmana. When that nirmana becomes less, that false ego becomes less, then moha, delusion also becomes less. You know how to interact with people very clearly in this world. Because you will not deal with people at a bodily level, at a mental level. You start dealing with people at a spiritual level. Your outlook will change. Because when you are seeing experiencing so many imperfections within your body, that will be expected from others also. So what you will do is you overlook all those imperfections in people. Then you will start seeing the true self. That is what Panditaha Samadarshinaha means. Right? Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmani Gavastini. Shunicheva Shopakecha Panditaha Samadarshinaha. You will become a Samadarshi. We have to come to that platform, spiritual platform. So for that, we need to give up our false ego. That is a healthy consciousness. That's a healthy outlook that we need to have. Otherwise, people every day so much of negativity. All over the world, you open the mobile phones, the newspapers, and everywhere people, even the normal gossip people do, there is so much of negativity. They're always looking into the imperfections of the people and the world. They are designed like that. Somehow people are designed that way to look into negativity. And the journalists also, they know that negative news, it sells very quickly. They want to project a lot of negative news all the time. But what are we doing here? We are not interested in the negative news of this world. We are trying to actually project the spiritual news of the spiritual world and trying to understand ourselves. Right? So, this is the depth that we need to have. When you have that kind of a depth, you will start appreciating your own life very nicely. When you have appreciation for yourself, right, you'll start appreciating yourself and you start congratulating yourself, then you will be able to congratulate others also. Because we'll not be envious of others. See, when somebody does something good, you will be heart full with of gratitude and without any jealousy or envy, you will be able to congratulate others when you have this kind of emotions because there is no false ego. But when you have that false ego, when somebody does well, you have that envy. Oh, he did better than me. See, there will be some people who are much talented than us when it comes to body mind intelligence. Like there's so many athletes, right? Even the para athletics who got some gold medals today, even with a normal body, I'll not be able to achieve the kind of perfection that they have because I'm not perfect in that. I will have to accept that I'm not perfect in archery or anything of that sort. That person may be physically challenged, but then he's really doing very well there and getting gold medals there. But I cannot do that because I'm not perfect. But when you accept that kind of imperfection within yourself, then you will be at peace. There is no comparisons. In fact, when that person, when you have such kind of no false ego, you will be genuinely appreciating that person who is more talented than you. You will not feel jealous. Nirmana moha. Very important. So Krishna is saying, give up this kind of moha. Don't get caught up with this moha. For that, we need to give false ego. And you know what happens? People are so egoistic these days. They're always thinking, the most egoistic person, what does he do? Have you any idea what the egoistic person does? He always has this one idea in his mind. The most egoistic person has one idea, and that idea is, what will others think of me? What will others think of me? A egoistic person is always caught up with this idea, what will others think of me? Every decision that he takes in his life is based on this one idea, what will others think of me? This is very ingrained in them. They don't think whether this is good for me, whether this is right for me. They are only worried about what will others think of me. The egoistic person is only concerned about this one idea. And what a miserable life it is. He will start forgetting about his own good and bad. He will only think about what will others think of me. His joy is gone. So such foolish people, they have no clue about what is true life. They are really in a very difficult situation because they are maintaining a very big headache, and that headache is, what will others think of me? He will buy a very, very big bungalow. He will stay in a big bungalow all alone, or at most one wife will be there. He'll stay, just two of them will be staying in that big bungalow. Why he wants to stay in that big bungalow? Just because, what will others think of me? If I stay in a small house, so let me have a big bungalow. What will others think of me? He will have a very big, monstrous, very adventurous car. Why? Because what will others think of me? Easily Maruti 800 can do. A small car can actually do for him. But no, he will have a big car. Why? What will others think of me? I will dress in a certain way. Every program, every function, I will wear a new dress. A new dress. I will not repeat that dress again. Why? Because what will others think of me? I will have this gold and this platinum and this silver jewelry, and I will have this dress. So have to have a matching earring. Because I have a matching earring, I need to have a matching necklace. Because I have all these matching, I need to have matching sandals also. So all these matching, you will wear in one function. And then why? Because what will others think of me? Next function you go, you can't wear the same thing because if you wear the same dress and same set, others will think, oh, this lady, she came last time for the function wearing the same set. Maybe she has very less number of sets, so she's wearing same thing again. So you have to have another set. So what is our life? What will others think of me? So our life is constantly rotating around this one idea, that what will the society think about me? Just imagine the situation of this kind of a person, this kind of people who are so miserable. They are living a life which is directed by others. This is the worst part, actually. And what, the worst part is not this. The worst part is the people which you are thinking, what will others think of me? They may not be actually thinking about you at all, like this. They are in their own world. They are also thinking about something else. What will others think of me? They are also in the same thing. They are not even interested because people are all so egoistic. Somewhere it's all boiling down to their own pleasures. They are least bothered about what you're thinking. Or that is why we have to give up all these kind of ideas, these wrong ideas and perceptions about what will others think of me. Very, very wrong understanding about life. If we are going to lead a life like this, thinking about what others think about me, then gone. We will never be happy. We will simply increase the luggage, the mental luggage. Lesser the luggage, more the comfort, right? So you need to carry less baggage with you. These are all additional baggages. What will others think of me? It is not a good thing to carry within our consciousness, right? We have to be very, very clever. We need to be very intelligent in these kind of thoughts. We have to introspect sometime. Otherwise, we'll be caught up very badly, very, very badly, right? People sometimes see that nirmana, I mean mana, not nirmana, mana, that false ego is so strong. They spend hours together just to have a certain type of hairstyle. One strand here, one strand here. This, it should stand vertically this way, this angle, that angle. Hours together, and little wind will blow. Immediately they'll take out the comb and they'll start adjusting things. What is all this? So much of mana is there on this body. Do you think such people will stay happy in their life? Never. So that's why many people, they have asked Prabhupada also, why you people shave? Prabhupada said, because we want to stay cool. Prabhupada said once to a reporter. When there is no hair, we stay cool. So actually, all these Mahatma, the sannyasis and devotees, they don't have to worry about what they have to wear tomorrow, because what ultimately, one simple dress they have to wear, same color dress they have to wear. People will not even know how many sets of dhoti kurtas they have, because every day they are wearing the same. And the Mahatma also, the sannyasi also don't have to worry which color to choose today. There is no such thing. One single color, just wear it. Chalo, happy. Some people are wearing white, some people are wearing saffron. No problem. Chalo. Otherwise, every day you have to think what color dress I have to wear, what earring I have to wear, what. Oh my God. Such a complicated life this is. Why we have to complicate our life like this? So, a Mahatma is not disturbed by these kind of opinions of others or comments of others or criticisms of others. He's not bothered. Why he's not bothered? Because he knows his self-worth. The problem is today we don't know our self-worth. And when people don't understand their self worth, they get disturbed so much. But when you know your self worth and people comment something wrong about you, when they criticize you, you will never be disturbed. Why we feel disturbed when somebody actually criticizes us? Because somewhere we feel that we are lower than what we actually thought about ourselves. Our level suddenly drops down because somebody commented something wrong about us and it hurts us so deeply. Our ego is punctured because we don't know our true definition. Somewhere someone says something and we are punctured. We are hurt so badly, right? So this is a wrong thing. So we need to somewhere understand that I should know my self-worth. My self-worth is much beyond the people's opinions and comments. It has nothing to do with this. A spiritual life. I am a spiritual being. What these people are talking is nonsense. They don't even know who am I. They don't know what is my true identity. When you know this kind of knowledge, when you have this kind of knowledge, you will become nirmana, nirmoha. So that's why a person who is really a Mahatma, he is never bothered about what people actually talk about him. He is not identifying himself with the body, mind, and intelligence. Right? So we have this world around us which is so complicated. Huh? So we have certain prejudices, we have these perceptions because they're all colored, they are tainted with different colors. So we need to purify that, and then all that ego will go. Egoistic person is always disturbed by the ripples of this world, but we will never be disturbed by the ripples of this world, right? Then Krishna is talking about Sangha here, right? Nirmana moha jita Sangha dosha. Sangha means what? It is attachment. Sangha means attachment. Attachment to the things that you already have. I have my wife, I have my children, I am attached. I have my house, I have my home, I have my this washing machine, I have this fridge, I'm attached to these things. So attached people are. So this is called a Sangha, attachment. Kama. Krishna is also talking about Kama here. Right? What is that? See, Adhyatma Nitya Vinivritta Kamaha. So, Sangha means attachment to those things which you already have. And Kama means attachment to those things for which you are hankering for. You don't have certain things and you want to have. That is Kama. So this is a disease. We have attachment, two kinds of attachments we have, Sangha and Kama. And these two types of attachments we have to become free from. So we should know that these are two things which are bringing us to this material body. So we should look for something more. We should not crave for things which are really not meant for you, right? Many people are craving for so many unwanted things. And I'll tell you one thing: people, they have a very deep sort of attachment to people. You know, especially when a person is lying down on a deathbed, or somebody who is very sick in the hospital, he's on the hospital bed, you know, then they become very attached to people who come and meet them. They are so vulnerable that time. When people are in the hospitals, no, lying on the bed, they become very vulnerable. They become emotionally so dependent on the emotional backup that they get from the family members or the friends that they come to meet. You see, people, they feel so nice when people come and, oh, what happened to you? Yo, you are so sick. When people come, what happened? You know, so much trouble you are going through. And this person on the bed is thinking, here is a person who understands me. And you know what? Actually, this happened. I ate something wrong and I became so sick. And you know, this is the problem that I'm going through. And you start explaining all that emotion, and that person is also nicely caring for you. Both of them are becoming emotionally dependent. So this kind of talks they goes on. This is emotional dependency. Very, very dangerous. Such kind of expectations when people have, no, it is wrong. We should not have. It's very easy to say, but difficult. People start craving for such love and affection from others. Nirmana moha, sangha, kama. These are all things which are, eating up our consciousness. Helplessly, we are giving up all these things. We are expecting so much of respect and this and that, right? And there are some people today, there are some people, uh, they have this habit of wishing people on their birthdays and anniversaries and year after, and these days smartphones are there, they'll remind them, you have this, they remind them about birthdays and other things about people. My mother is an expert in this. Actually, she doesn't use any smartphones around, but somehow she has that good memory about people's birthdays and anniversaries and all these things. She remembers everything. She, without fail, she will wish people when she knows that this is their birthday or anniversary. And that person, oh, you remember my birthday or my anniversary? So nice of you. And what a emotional. And she feels so happy that, oh, see, I wish that person, and that person was so reciprocative. And 1 year you don't wish that birthday or anything like that, person will call back. You don't call, they will call back. Oh, this year you didn't wish me on my birthday. It was my birthday today. See how that emotional dependencies are there. People get caught up with these things very badly. So we have to ask ourselves, what am I doing? Am I supposed to get attached with all this? It's a self ignorance. Actually, it's ignorance of the self. That's why we get attached. So, when we get attached like this, what will happen is we get caught up with the dwandvas. What Krishna is saying in this dwandvas here, you see? Krishna is saying dwandver. He's saying vimukta sukha dukkha samne. You become free from the dwandva when you actually become nirmana, nirmoha, you become jitasanga, vinivritta kamaha. What will happen? You will become free from the set of pairs, pairs of opposite basically. Pairs of opposite means what? Joy, sorrow, victory, defeat, praise, respect, and criticize, honor, dishonor, health, disease. These are all different pairs of opposite in this world. But when you have these kind of emotional dependencies, when you have so much of mana, pride, and all these things, you get caught up with this or pairs of opposite. You will be disturbed by the pairs of opposite all the time because your thinking is wrong. But when you have a person who is real in knowledge, he has a very good shock absorbers. He will never get disturbed by these kind of pairs of opposites. Why? What is that shock absorber? He has a shock absorber within himself. Honor, dishonor, health, disease. He will not get disturbed by this because he has the shock absorber called knowledge, the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita. He will be able to absorb all these dvandvas within himself. Very, very, very important. What we are doing right now, by discussing all these things, we are developing that shock absorber within our consciousness. Because then, no matter what situation, Prabhuji, I will face it. You may not say it to me on that moment or in that very heat of the moment, but because you have this knowledge, you will somewhere appreciate, yes, Prabhuji ने बोला था. अभी मेरे पास में ये बोला था ना, मेरे पास ये shock absorber है. I will absorb this. You will get that strength. You will get that knowledge. Very, very important. That is intelligence, right? If you get back to the same analogy of the movie last time that we discussed, you're crying because the hero is crying. And you're crying, but somebody really comes and shakes you up and says, are you really crying? Are you really disturbed? You will say, no, 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 that is all movie, but deep within, you know that one part of your mind is not actually crying. One part because you are identifying with the movie is crying, but other part deep within when somebody shakes you up, you are not really crying. Deep within you are situated well. So a Mahatma also, he actually acts as if he is a part of this world, but from within he is not part of this world. He also goes to the functions, he meets people, he does all of that thing. He shows all these different things, emotions and everything. He shows them, but is not disturbed by them. So he only shows this emotion, but within he is detached. That is the Mahatma. So he never gets caught up with the drama of this world. So he only, they say some Mahatma has told that Bhar drama, Andar Rama. So Mahatma is like externally is part of this drama, but internally is only talking about drama. So a Mahatma is like that. So we should all become like that. Externally, you should show to the people, yes, I'm such a great family man, I'm this and I'm that, and I'm such a great on. Show to the people, Baba, no problem. But from within, you're only thinking about Krishna. You're only thinking, how can I develop my attachment to Prabhupada and Krishna? That should be our idea. Deep within, just like in a movie theater, they show the director of this thing is there, the choreographer is this one. This is all flimsy. It is just a cooked up story. It's not a real story, it's a cooked up story. Right? But in that cooked up story also you see and you cry. Right? So similarly in this world also, when you see this drama that is going on, it's all cooked up story. But deep within you should know, I'm not a part of this drama. I'm something else. That you should understand. So you will not cry for something that is wrong, something that is not substantial, right? So this is how people, wise people, they apply their knowledge. When you really want to cut a jackfruit, when you want to cut a jackfruit, a foolish person, he cuts the jackfruit and puts his hand into it, and then what will happen? He'll get caught up with all that stickiness, and it's so difficult for him to cut later, right? But an intelligent person, what he does, he applies oil first, nicely, and then he will cut and then he will remove everything that is there in the jackfruit, right? So, what is that oil? That oil is the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. So, we will never get caught up with the stickiness of this world. If you can apply the knowledge of, that means the oil of Bhagavad Gita onto your consciousness, then you will nicely enjoy the fruit, this jackfruit of life. It's very important. Correct? Don't get stuck up with this. Very, very important. You have to illumine yourself from within. From inside, you have to become very, very illumined. Very, very important this. So, Krishna is that's why saying Dvanvair Vimukta Sukha Dukkha Samner Gachanti Amudaha Padam Avyayam Tat. When a person is completely free from nirma, moha, then mana, sanga, kamaha, you will become a very, very happy person. You will never get bewildered by the ups and downs of this world. So please understand that this is a very deep subject matter. We have discussed so many wonderful things. This Ashwatha Vriksha is actually revealing our true nature to us. This Ashwatha tree that Krishna is talking about is actually a tree to be cut off. This Samsara Vriksha is never to be caught up again. We should never get up caught up again into the Samsara Vriksha. We have to become intelligent. You have to become Mahatma through this knowledge. Right? So, any questions? Anything that you want to ask? Any comments? It's quite philosophical, right? All those who have joined on YouTube, you can also comment and you can ask questions if you have any. So, it's uh, it's difficult thing to know, but actually, it is amazing life. If you can really understand these principles, oh, what amazing happiness is awaiting all of us. Can't imagine. So much of bliss is there. Sometimes this kind of verses that Krishna speaks shakes up all that wrong notions that we have about ourselves. It gives us a lot of clarity actually. So much of our ego is there. Whole life goes on in pleasing others. What will others think of me? And we completely forget our own life. Such a great life Krishna has given, such a wonderful human life we have got, right? So we should actually ask ourselves now, what am I supposed to do? Let us take this spiritual life very, very seriously, right? So everyday chanting is important, everyday reading Prabhupada books is important, doing devotional service, offering bhoga to the Lord every day is very important. When we have all these things in place, a system in place for spiritual life, then automatically that system will take care of all of us, right? So association with devotees is so important. Associating with spiritual people is so important. Otherwise, these things will never, uh, cross across our mind because all the time we are so much dealing with materialistic people. We think that's the way of life, and little bit of spirituality हम लोग कर लेंगे ना. We actually have to be the opposite. All the time we have to be engaged in spiritual life. Little bit here and there, just to show to the people, detach. Be detached and keep doing your work. That's very important. So one level of detachment we will develop now when we go to Mayapur. So all of you be ready. We are going to be very excited to, already people are like, so excited. We have a good group of people this time. Hopefully everyone will join, and we'll have a good exposure to a spiritual life where we can really develop that love, that noble thoughts and noble emotions in our heart. It's a great opportunity for all of us. When we go to such dham yatras, it gives us a chance to purify our heart and become a good person, a spiritual person. Any questions? Anything that we have discussed today? Anything that you want to ask? Any comments? Lakshmi Mata is saying it is art of joyful living. Yes, actually, it's art of joyful living, because when we have so much of detachment for the material world, materialistic life, then there is so much of joy that comes in, that flows into us all that automatically. Very, very important. Yes. Any questions? All right. So we'll continue from where we have left. We have discussed only the fifth verse today. Actually, I wanted to discuss something more until verse number 9, but we will take up that in the next session, because Krishna is going to talk something more important. We will continue in our next session. All right. If you have any questions, you can drop them into the WhatsApp group. Please take care. Thank you so much for joining, all of you. Hare Krishna.